Hello everybody. In this video we're going to study Pythagorean theorem. Let triangle ABC be a right triangle. So if we don't have a right triangle, we cannot talk about Pythagorean theorem. So if we have a right triangle, we have two legs, leg A and leg B. The squares of the sum of the legs will be equal to square of the hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is the longest side and it is just across the right angle. So let's see a simple geometric proof. Let's have 3, 4, 5 right triangle. So if we extend side 3, we're going to obtain 3 by 3 square. And the area of the 3 by 3 square will be 9 units squared. And if we make a square from the side 4, we obtain 4 by 4 square, which is 16 units squared area. And if we extend 5 side, 5 by 5 square, we obtain 25 units squared square. So according to Pythagorean theorem, if we have a right triangle, the sum of the legs squared will be equal to square of the hypotenuse. So the area of the red square will be 9. The area of the blue square is 16. Together it is 25. And this is correct. So if we have right triangle, then this has to be correct. If this is not equal to each other, then our triangle is not right triangle. So this is the theorem that we're going to use to prove whether our triangle is right triangle or not as well. If this proof is not satisfying enough, let's look at this one. So we have triangle ABC, legs are A and B, and the hypotenuse is C. We duplicate this triangle 4 times and extend it and form this square inside. So the area of the small square, which is the green square here inside, is equal to area of the large square, which is that blue square, minus the area of the 4 triangles. So we're going to subtract these 4 triangles. So area of the large square is base times height. So our base is A plus B. Our height is also A plus B. So A plus B squared minus the area of the 4 triangles. 4 times the area of 1 triangle. Area of a triangle is A times B, base times height, divided by 2. So if we extend this, if we FOIL A plus B squared, we obtain A squared plus 2AB plus B squared. And if we simplify this, 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 times AB, and this positive 2AB cancels negative 2AB, so we obtain A squared plus B squared on the right hand side, and on the left we obtain C squared. So this proves Pythagorean theorem. Let's see some examples. This is our right triangle. Let's have side 8, side 6, and we don't know. Let's call it C or X, whatever you would like. Now we know that this is the right triangle, so those are the legs. So sum of the legs squared will be equal to square of the hypotenuse. So 6 squared plus 8 squared has to be equal to C squared. So we're going to set it equal to hypotenuse. So 6 squared is 36, 8 squared is 64, equal to C squared. So if we add these two, we obtain 100 equals to C squared. We're going to solve for C, so we square root on both sides. Square and square root signs are the inverse operations. So square root cancels the square. So C will be equal to square root of 100, which is 10. So C has to be 10. So here, we learned how to find the missing hypotenuse if the hypotenuse is missing. let's see how we can use this Pythagorean theorem if the legs are missing. Again, we're going to have a right triangle, and in this right triangle, let's say we have 14, we have 9, and this is missing. So squares of the legs added will be equal to square of the hypotenuse. So first we construct the equation, then we take the squares of the numbers. 9 squared is 81, and 14 squared is 196. Now next step is to subtract 81 on both sides. So x squared will be equal to 196 minus 81, which is 115. Now we need to solve for x, so we can square root on both sides. Now x will be equal to square root of 115. You can leave it in this form, or you can use your calculator and simplify. So you obtain 10.72. So x is 10.72. Let's see another example. Okay, is the leg missing or the hypotenuse is missing? Here, hypotenuse is missing, because just across the right angle is the hypotenuse. So we are going to set the equation. So 12 squared plus 15 squared is equal to c squared. 12 squared is 144, 15 squared is 225, and if we add these two numbers, we obtain 369. Now we're going to square root on both sides. So c will be equal to square root of 369, which is, it's going to be 19.20. Before we start word problems, let's remember 3 cases we are going to solve. In the case 1, we're going to find the hypotenuse where perpendicular and base are given. In case 2, we're going to find the base where perpendicular and hypotenuse are given. And in the third case, we're going to find the perpendicular where base and hypotenuse are given. Let's check out question number 1. A person has to walk 100 meters to go from position A in the north of east direction to the position B and then to the west of B to reach finally at position C. The position C is situated at the north of A and at a distance of 60 meters from A. Find the distance between A and C. So if your question is related with directions, it is good to use XY plane. So let's draw XY plane and then start constructing our problem. So we have to write the directions. Above is always north, below is south. Right side of north is always east, and left side of north is always west. Now the person is starting from point A. Let origin be point A, and walking in the direction of northeast, walking up to point B. So this is point B, and he's walking 100 meters in this direction. Then the person is turning to the west and walking until he's coming north of A, and this is point C. And he walks here 60 meters. We were told to find the distance between A and C. Now, as you can see, we constructed a right triangle, and one of the legs is missing. So we're going to set the Pythagorean theorem and find the distance between A and C. So according to Pythagorean theorem, we're going to have BC squared plus AC squared has to be equal to AB squared, because here AB is the hypotenuse and line segment BC is the leg, line segment AC is the leg, and AB is the hypotenuse. Now we're going to plug in the numbers. Side BC is 60, side AC is 100, and AB is unknown. So 60 squared is 36, 00. 100 squared is 100, 00. And AB squared is unknown. If we add them up, we obtain 1316. We obtain 13,600. Now we are going to square root on both sides. So AB will be equal to square root of 13,600. Using the calculator, we find approximately 116.62. So this is AB, meter. Let's check question number 2. If the square of a hypotenuse of an isosceles right triangle is 156 centimeters squared, find the length of each side. So we need to construct a right triangle, and we were told that this is an isosceles triangle. This is a right triangle and isosceles triangle. We know that isosceles triangle has two same sides, and the hypotenuse is given as 156 meters squared, centimeters squared. So we're going to find the legs. So we know that if this is x, this is also x amount. So we're going to apply Pythagorean theorem. So x squared plus x squared has to be equal to 156. So we have 2x squared here equals to 156. We're going to solve for x, so we're going to divide both sides on 2. So x squared will be equal to 78. Now we're going to solve for x by square rooting on both sides. So x will be equal to square root of 78, which is approximately 8.83. So legs are 8.83 centimeters. Question number 3. Find the perimeter of a rectangle whose length is 150 meter and the diagonal is 170 meter. So we start by constructing a rectangle. And we are given that the diagonal is 170 meter and the length is 150 meter. So we can obtain a right triangle here. So to be able to find the perimeter, first we need to find the width. This is length. So to be able to find width, we can apply Pythagorean theorem. So let's call this side A. So A squared plus 150 squared, which is side B, equals to 170 squared. Now we're going to solve for A and find the width. After we find the width, we're going to apply the perimeter formula. Perimeter of a rectangle is 2 times length plus 2 times width, or 2 times length plus width. Okay, let's go back to Pythagorean theorem. So here, a squared is equal to 170 squared minus 150 squared. So a squared will be equal to, let's use the calculator. 170 squared is 28,900, and 150 squared is 22,500, and the difference is 6,400, and the square root of this will be 80. So the width is 80 meter. Now we can apply the perimeter formula. We know that perimeter is 2 times length plus width, which is 150 plus 80. So we obtain 2 times 230, which is 460 meter. Let's see example 4. A ladder 13 meter long is placed on the ground in such a way that it touches the top of a vertical wall 12 meter high. Find the distance of the foot of the ladder from the bottom of the wall. So we have to construct wall and a ladder. So this is the ladder, which is 13 meter long, and the wall is 12 meter high, and we are going to find the distance between the foot of the ladder up to wall. This is wall. So we constructed a right triangle, so we can apply Pythagorean theorem. So what is missing, leg or hypotenuse? The leg is missing because this is hypotenuse. So 12 squared plus, let's call it x squared is equal to 13 squared. 12 squared is 144 plus x squared is equal to 13 squared is 169. So x squared will be equal to 169 minus 144. So that's going to be 5, 9 minus 4 is 5, 6 minus 4 is 2, 1 minus 1 is 0. So x squared is 25. Then if we square root on both sides, then we can find x. Then x will be 5. So the leg is 5 meter. I mean, from the bottom of the ladder up to wall is 5 meter. Let's check out the last example on this topic. The height of two buildings is 34 meter and 29 meter respectively. If the distance between the two buildings is 12 meter, find the distance between their tops. So we have a building which is 34 meter, and we have another building which is 29. So this is 34 meter building, this is 29 meter building, and the distance between these two is 12 meter. So we're going to find the distance from their tops. So we can construct a right triangle. This is also 12. So here is the difference between 34 and 29. So 34 minus 29 is this difference, and we're going to find this. So 34 minus 29 is 5. This is 12 and x. Since this is right triangle, we can apply Pythagorean theorem. So the hypotenuse is missing. So 5 squared plus 12 squared is equal to x squared. 25 is the 5 squared. 144 is the 12 squared, and this is x squared. If we add this up, we obtain 169 equals to x squared. And then if we square root on both sides, then we obtain x as 13. So the distance between their tops is 13 meter. So in the word problems, you will have 3 cases, one of those 3 cases. All you have to do is reading carefully and constructing the question. And eventually you're gonna end up with a right triangle. So you can apply Pythagorean theorem. Thank you for watching.